Alright, what's up? I'm here. We're doing Ask an African. I'm here. I'm glad to be here today. I got a real African, strong African brother right here with me. Please, brother, introduce yourself for the camera.
My name is Khaled. Y'all might know me as Khaled Dessalines. Khaled is really short for Kalidosos, for one of our warrior ancestors who fought against the Arab invasions into Africa. You feel what I'm saying? He fought so hard that they referred to him as the enemy of Islam. That's how hard he fought against the Arab invasion of Africa and against them Islamicizing Africans. You feel me? That was Kalidosos of Mercurius. So, you know, in honor of that spirit, you feel me, to keep Africa pure and to keep Africa unadulterated from foreign influence, I adopted that name Kalidosos. I shortened it to Khaled in honor of the great ancestor Khalid Muhammad. You feel what I'm saying? Love that brother, man. You know, everybody who, if you watch 5 minutes of that brother, if you don't fall in love with, you know what I'm saying, that warrior spirit, then it ain't it.
I was going to ask, how did you get that name?
Right.
But it sounds like, you know, you living up to it right now. So was you given that name, or did you choose that name?
Nah, I chose that name. I didn't grow up like in a African-centered community where I had elders I was looking to, you feel what I'm saying, that would actually give you a name like that. You feel what I'm saying? So I didn't come into consciousness like that. A lot of people were fortunate enough to come into consciousness by being around African-centered people, and that's not how I came into consciousness. So, you know, I didn't get a name from another African-centered person. You feel me? I came into my consciousness reading African history on my own, and then that's how I decided that I don't want to go by a European name no more. You understand what I'm saying? And I chose a warrior.
Okay, thank you. So getting into that, we're gonna go into how what got you here. How long have you had that name?
Probably since 2014. I've had the name. This mind state since 2010.
You said you wasn't reared up in consciousness. So where you from, brother?
I'm from Cali. I'm from Southern California, San Bernardino, California.
That's what it
Born
is.
and raised.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
I.e. desert.
Yeah.
All right. So, what led you here today? What sparked your journey in African truth and history?
I would have to say, you know, it's funny because, you know, a lot of people, either when you go to jail, when you go to prison, it do several different things to people. Some people come out better, some people come out worse, some people come out African-centered. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what happened to me. Like, when I was 15, I went to YA for robbery, armed robbery. So I did almost 5 years at that time. You feel me? And when I was back there, I wasn't really ready for it yet. I was still gangbanging. I was, you know what I mean? I was acting, I was wilding. When I was back there, though, when I was in that facility, a brother introduced me to the ISIS papers. He introduced me to a book called Blacked Out Through Whitewash. You feel me? Where it talks about a lot of black historical events and black historical people who have been blacked out of history by whitewashing of history. I was exposed. There was a Black Panther that, even though he was, you know, like 24 years old, he was a young Black Panther who gave me some political perspective. But again, at that time, me being 15, 16, 17, 18, those are the years that I was there, you know, it planted seeds. It wasn't like, oh, you know, I was woke. You feel what I'm saying? I was conscious from that point forward. Now,
Right.
It planted those seeds, though, and they grew. You feel what I'm saying? And so, like, maybe around 2008, 2007, that's when I remembered all of that stuff, and I decided to start reading those books. I got Dr. Cresswell's and ISIS papers. I ended up getting Eldridge Cleaver Solo Nice. He's a coon, he's a weirdo. You know,
He's a rapist.
A rapist deserving of death. But his political perspective in the book, I was appreciative of what he had brought. You know what I mean? I wasn't fully coming to the realization until you get to the part in the book where he admits to being a rapist. You're like, dang, what the hell? You feel me? Y'all let him be the leader,
Right?
the you know, political leader in the Black Power movement, like. And those are things, you know, it's funny because we was talking about earlier about how it's our responsibility to carry things forward from where those who came before us, you understand what I'm saying? And so, like, that's something that should never go down. You feel me? Like, maybe at that time, they made that mistake of allowing people, because he wrote really well and he articulated himself really well. He articulated the struggle and the movement really well in a lot of areas, so they allowed him to be part of the movement. Today, that should not fly, ever. You feel what I'm saying? Somebody with that type of mentality, professing that kind of undying love for white women, that shit is. I don't know if you allowed cussing on you, but that's just.
No, go ahead, brother. Express yourself.
That book is horrible, and when it gets into all of that, you feel me? So, but anyways, yeah, it was those type of things that woke me up, and honestly, it wasn't until around like 2009 when I was still a believer in the Bible. You feel me? I was raised by Jehovah's Witness parents.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
I tell you what, off that. You wouldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
You know, from your presentation and your knowledge, wouldn't even believe it.
Man, Jehovah's Witnesses are the... I can't think of a more top-level brainwash beyond probably Islam. Islam is probably number one in terms of the level of brainwash that religion does to black people. I think Jehovah's Witnesses are number two. You feel me? Mm-hmm. I don't think there's nothing higher than that. You feel me? In terms of how deep it grasps their soul and their mind away from being truly African and black. I don't know if you want to get into that or not. I don't know.
We can get into it, but you did hit on something I did want to touch on. We're talking about leadership and us picking bad leadership. Like use the brother elders for example. Do you think that's something we need to put more context into today of picking our leaders and not just exalting somebody because they speak well or talk hard because they black?
Absolutely. That's 100%. 100%. Like, yeah, that's crazy, man. A lot of times people can become leaders just because they have a popular following on social media. Mm-hmm. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, a lot
you
of
feel
that.
what I'm saying? Like, all of us, you ain't got no history or nothing up under your belt. You know what I'm saying? No real activity being out there like that. I ain't talking about marching with your hands up and all of that. That's not the type of activity I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting it in with the enemy. You feel what I'm saying? Like with no history or none of that. You feel me? And then all of a sudden you get to become a leader. You know what I mean? Or because you have this many likes on videos. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's no, that should not be the criteria.
I agree. So let me ask you this: what qualifies a great black leader?
That's a really good question, brother. I'm gonna be honest. Just to answer that. I wish I could give a really good answer to that. Mm-hmm. I would have to get out more thought. I would expect black leadership to be uncompromising on African principle. African principle being, putting African people first, putting African people in the forefront. You feel what I'm saying? Courageous. You feel me? Not being like any of these weak, bend over, pander to Europeans. You feel what I'm saying? Like these Al Sharptons and none of that. That's not black leadership. You feel me? They're gonna lead you right down into the gas chamber. That's a really good question. I would love to have a good answer for that, but I would have to.
That's good enough, honestly. Because I think it still needs to be defined. Mm-hmm. So, because I want to follow up with that is, do we even have black leaders today, or do we need black leaders?
Okay. Do we have any? We may have leaders that we don't even know about. You feel me? I know some strong brothers who meet strong African criteria, who are very wise, you feel me? But ain't nobody listening to them. You know what I mean? Everybody's running around chasing after the most popular person or whatever the European puts in front of us. Do we need leadership? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've heard people really say, we don't need no leaders. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hold up. Like,
or we lead ourselves.
Name one successful anything, you feel me, in history without leadership. Even on a football field. I love to use sports as an example because that's one thing that black people are adept at, dancing and sports. Right. You know what I'm saying? We know a lot about it. You feel me? And no, there could be no successful football team, basketball team without leadership in those teams. You feel what I'm saying? So if you ain't got a coach or you ain't got a captain of the football team, then you really ain't gonna be out there in competing very well with people who do. It's the same thing with military. Military has leadership. They have generals. You understand what I'm saying? They have captains and colonels and whatnot. They have leadership. And so the idea that black people don't need leadership, now we can see how successful the American military is across the planet. They're very successful. They're out here kicking ass. Mm-hmm. So the idea that black people don't need leadership, I think that's false, and I don't even know where that idea came from.
I think it comes from black people not wanting to have no camaraderie and just falling in line. I think, a lot we see now is everybody want to be a general. Don't nobody want to play their position, or at least admit that somebody can orate better than me. Mm-hmm. Somebody can come up with a plan better than me. Mm-hmm. You may not bust your gun, and that's cool, but what can you do?
Right.
And I think that's where it comes from, but people not wanting to fall in line. But I want to ask you, why do you think it's very hard for black people to, let's say, strategically organize and fall in and play their position?
I think it's a slave mentality, bro. It's ego, but a lot of times behind ego, because when people think of people being egotistical, we think of people being full of pride, full of confidence, overconfident, really self-assured, and all of that. But behind that is a very frail personality. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what slavery has done to us. But that's also what existing in this society, being dominated by non-black people, being dominated by people that don't look like us, being dominated by Europeans and whites. You feel me? That's what that does to you. Is it puts you in a position where you know it depletes your self-worth or your feeling of self-worth, and because of that, you develop an ego to protect yourself against feeling like you ain't shit. You feel what I'm saying? And so it's that ego that we have that forces people to bolster themselves as if I'm the G, I'm the general, I'm the guy, you know, you need to listen to me and blah blah blah. It's all, and it's false, because we really ain't got nothing to back none of that up. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You really don't. You know, you hear people running around calling themselves the general. The general of what? You feel what I'm saying? Of what army? You feel me? Of what nation? You feel me? And backed up by what? You feel me? How you enforcing that? You feel me? Who's stepping to your command? And really, can you compete with the other general? Can you compete with Colin Powell? You feel me? Are you on a level to even say anything to this man? You feel what I'm saying? So it's like that's just false personality.
Titles, you got to compare yourself to other people that have that title and say, do I have an army? Do I have people backing me?
Right.
Do I got the funding to really fight this war?
Right.
I guess the question really is like, what are you the general of? What you're saying, and what is your agenda, and where are you going?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. So we're gonna jump back into your upbringing. As in were you raised by both your parents?
I was raised by my mom. My dad was in and out of prison. So,
okay.
You know. Yep.
So what would you say would be one thing? You did say you came up as a Jehovah's Witness. Even after leaving that, what's one thing that your mother has instilled in you that you still hold today, even in consciousness, that ain't steered you wrong?
This is good character. My mom got good character. At the end of the day, although she might be gone in that belief system, she still has a sense of decency about herself and a sense of good character. You feel me? So, like, she's not a foul person. You feel what I'm saying? She might be misled, but she not foul. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I ain't never been foul to nobody. You feel me? So, like, there's nobody that can come out and say, this dude, you know, his character is off. You know what I mean? So, because of that, you know, and her having that same type of characteristic and me picking it up from her, yeah, I think that's what I got from my mom.
Powerful. Speaking of Ewok, let's talk about that. Because I'll share, like, one thing I learned, and I like that you said that, just even as somebody is under a different spiritual system, their character will still be intact as a black person. And that was one thing I picked up in Africa. You know, we get on Christians so much. I even went to church in Africa, and the people treated me great. Even I told one Catholic dude, I'm interested in practicing voodoo, and he looked at me crazy, but he didn't treat me foul, none of the rest of the way. What do you think is the issue? Because I'm gonna say it's an issue in our community, conscious Afrocentric. I just want to say that we have all these titles, but the character is trash. What do you think is up with our character? Why can we get all the high science in the world and quote all that, but our character, what do you think is blocking that?
In the conscious community.
Yes.
Right? Dang,
people that know better. We're not talking about people that don't know. We're talking about people that know better.
That's a really good question, bro. That's a really good question. And I know exactly what you're talking about, you know. And you got a lot of people in the conscious community that know all the knowledge, but they got pimp mentalities. You feel what I'm saying? They want to pimp the people for their money.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Cash out.
Yeah, all of that, you know. And it's like they want to charge you for this, that, X, Y, Z. I done said to people, you know, like, I have never heard when the leaders or the elders of any black revolutionary history charge the people for the information in order to get free. Like, where in the Haitian Revolution did the elders of the Haitian Revolution, when did Queen Annie of Jamaica or Boukman Duddy charge the people and say, hey, look, let's meet, we're going to talk about how we're going to break away from this white man. But 1995. Make sure you bring 1995. Like, that has never, that I've ever heard of. I would need someone to show me where in the history of any black freedom, any black revolutionary, any black real society where the elders charged the people for the information to help them get free. To me, that don't make sense. People say, oh, elders gotta eat, they gotta make money, they gotta sell lectures, sell books, and this and that. And I'm like, okay, then why don't you learn how to fix a car? You know what I'm saying? Why you ain't learn how to, do something? There's many skills that you can do to make money, but how is it that the information that is vital to saving African people have to have a price tag on it for African people? To me, that there's a scam going on right there. In terms of the question, to be more pointed towards it, I just really think that's a good question in terms of how maybe people are following the leader. Maybe people being led by foul people are picking up these foul types of ways, and that's why their character is shot. You know what I mean? Because you're being led by people who are just in it for a few dollars in their pocket. They just want to get old and go away and die peacefully with a nice house or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? They're not worried about ultimately freeing African people and paying whatever ultimate price that might bring. You feel what I'm saying? Whether it's to be destitute or whether it's to die. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or even to kill. Because that's another thing too. I hate that whole I'm ready to die shit. I'm ready to die. I'm gonna die. Are you willing to kill for African people? Are you ready to kill for African people? To me, it's easier to die. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I think black people have done a whole lot of dying.
Too much.
Okay, yeah. Let's move on with the killing. Like that's where you, to me, you showed me some character. You feel me? So all this, being willing to die, like I don't want to hear none of that. That don't move on that. But yeah.
No, we're gonna get into that, killing and dying, because we doing a whole lot of dying and marching. Right. But I did want to follow back, because you hit on a great point of the pimping of our information. Because like I pride myself on not asking. I have a business and I have my own thing. I work as all men should. We work and we go out and we make money to finance what we want to do. So and we already know black people are living in a poverty situation somewhat. So why is it that we feel it's okay to ask black people to fund us when we should be funding our own self? So my question more so is why do you think black people would rather beg for somebody to support their visions with the Cash App or donate to me, opposed to going out and doing something, as you just said, like learn to fix a car, learn to do this. You want to charge on liberation, but you don't want to go out and finance yourself to serve your people. Why do you think?
Laziness, pimp mentality again. That's just pimp mentality. A pimp he lives off of the work of other people. You feel what I'm saying? He gives them a good feeling. You feel me? He pretends to his harem or his women that he's the best thing for them and that they can't live without him or whatever comes out of his mouth without his information or whatever, and they keep bringing them that money. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a laziness, it's a pimp mentality, it's a corrupt thing, it's corruption. But what I'm saying is there are some things that should be sacred. You feel me? And I believe that when it comes to the freedom of African people, if you love African people, then if you have information that is vital to maintaining the freedom of African people, then that information should be given to African people from your heart. You feel what I'm saying?
I agree.
So if I ain't talking about, I'm entertaining. Fine, you're an entertainer. You get paid to entertain. You feel what I'm saying? Again, all these different trades that you could do. You feel what I'm saying? You can sell food. I know my sister, she sells food. She does a good job. You feel what I'm saying at that? She put in work to do that. You feel me? But I believe when you're doing race work, to put in work for the race, that's for the race. That's you chuck that up. That's what you're supposed to do as a good African.
A sane African.
As a sane African.
Right.
So in terms of I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. Like I do a lot. I do art. I paint. You know what I'm saying? I used to make music. I want to make one album. You know what I'm saying? Just one album and just say I did that. Just to say I did that. But I do a lot of different things. I'm really good with my hands. I build things and all of that. But I'm not charging for the information though for African people. When I had the children's books, I illustrated some children's books. I don't know, some of you guys might be familiar with Sankofa Superheroes children's books. I illustrated those 2 volumes, and I bought them off of Amazon. So I paid a certain amount for the books. I was selling those books for the price that I paid for them. You feel what I'm saying? I was giving them away a lot of times. You know what I mean? If I know that this was a black person going to read this book to an African child, it's yours. You feel what I'm saying? That's my donation to the cause. A lot of times when people was like, well, how much? I'm like, you can give me what you want. You feel what I'm saying? But I wasn't really charging people like that. You feel what I'm saying? You can give me what you think is worth. You feel what I'm saying? But it's not no ultimatum. You can't have this if you don't give me this. You feel what I'm saying? Not for something like that. For the mind of an African child. Nah, it's too important to me for that. You feel me? I can make money in so many other ways. I got hustle. You feel what I'm saying? I can make money in so many other ways.
Exactly.
Why would I try to monetize African freedom?
Right, because it ain't no return on this, as we all know. So it's like, what are we looking to get? If it's freedom that we going for, why are we charging? This dollar is not really going to be. It's not even equal. What I'm giving you, that's going to help you 100% of your life, and you gonna help other black people with it. $1 ain't shit to that. So I agree with you fully on that. And you name those books for the children that will be watching and let them know where they can get them.
Yeah, well, they're available on Amazon, as a matter of fact. Sankofa Superheroes, S-A-N-K-O-F-A, and then Superhero, like after Heru, he's a Kemet. So Superherus. You know what I mean? You type that into Amazon, they'll pop up. It's 2 volumes, volume 1 and volume 2. They dedicated to the warrior ancestors. The people that you're gonna see in those books is people like Khalid Muhammad, people like Menkaperah Tahuti made it. Because a lot of times when we learn about history and we talk about historical people, they always bring up Dr. King. They bring up all of these people who fought by beating people up with their face against other people's fists. You feel what I'm saying? You know, they was breaking people's fists with their face. You feel me? And like, that's not the type of ancestor that we should be teaching our children to follow after.
I agree. So that's powerful. We got brothers out here, you know, illustrating books for our babies to let them know that you don't have to die. It's not the standard. And let them know that there are black people in antiquity and now that have stood up to oppression. We just don't hear about them.
Right. We don't hear about them. And,
So
if they do let us know about them, they make sure to let you know about the ones who white supremacy was able to eventually capture or kill. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
They really don't want us to know the stories about the ones who were successful at fighting against white supremacy, running the Klan out of their towns and out of their cities and out of their states, and still living to be old men, like the Deacons for Defense or Robert F. Williams and down at Monroe and the group of brothers that he banded together to fight against the Klan. You feel me? Them brothers lived to be old men with black wives. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, Black Lives Matter. Black
Lives Matter all day. And we're going to get into that. And I want to follow up what you said. I think that's the most important thing that you need to put out to the youth. Or we need to put out to the youth. Let me correct myself. Of that, all revolutionaries don't die young. So you know, because we have the standard of, you're just going to die, brother, don't do that. Or they're going to take your money, brother. You ain't going to be able to work talking like that. And it's just like, nah, because black men have done it. They got old and they died. Nobody killed them. They had some children, had their wives, and can still say, yeah, I fought the war when I needed to. And I think that's very important to change that narrative of, you know, the broke revolutionary or the revolution that's going to die early. It's a lot of ways to be a revolutionary. It's a lot of ways to fight the war. And I think, you know, with a lot of black people, we have these cinematic minds from watching these movies and think fighting this war is just going out and busting your gun on five crackers or something. But it's like, really, feeding your man. I tell one thing that I got from my father is just going to work. And you learn a lot of a black man just being home and being present. That's one of the biggest ways we can fight this war. Is go home at night. You know, put your money where it need to be. Raise your children. You know, it's really a lot of basic life skills that we can do, that we can fight this war much better by being present than going out busting some gun on probably 2 crackers.
Oh, if they some selective ones.
Right.
You know, like them ones that them hitters, them ones that's actually got their hands in the pot of directly affecting the lives of African people. And we get to it, we good. But
we good.
But yeah, I do agree. I do agree to a large degree. But I do not want to discount, brothers who is willing to bust that gun.
Yeah, shout out to, the season is upon us. Michael X.
Right.
Gavin Eugene Long, we coming.
Yeah. Hey, the Sandra Bland Avenger. Nobody ever talks about the Sandra Bland Avenger.
Talk about
it. I mean, because we always hear, they always try to put these narratives out there to divide black men and women, or to degrade what black men have done for African people. You feel me? Like Brother Ram always says, my brother, shout out to my brother Ram, no man, not the Chinese man, not the Mexican man, not the Asian man, not the Hispanic man, not the freaking, what other are they out there? No man in this country, the Arab man has ever fought against white supremacy like the black man has in this nation. You can't name any other movement or group that has fought as hard and been repressed and fought back hard against than the black man.
I agree 100% with you on that, and I think that's why African Americans should. A lot of us, we feel kind of low because of slavery, but when you really lay down that we've been on this land, in a foreign land under this war, and we still been fighting.
Still fighting.
Non-stop fighting. We done built, they done destroyed, we still done built, and when we look at that, you just got to look at the resiliency and the fact that we ain't gave up and we still here. So we need to be proud of our history in America. We may not like it here, but brothers and sisters have been putting in that work, time and time again, and even with nothing.
Right.
So it's just a beautiful thing. Can you give me 3 black men or women that have influenced you or continue to influence you right now?
I gotta say Dr. Chris Wilson, man.
Okay.
Warrior ancestor. Love that queen to death. Dr. Khalid Muhammad. 3. It's hard to put it at 3.
Okay.
But I would say Del Jones and Amos Wilson. Del Jones don't get enough credit. A lot of people don't even know about Del Jones. If you're watching this video, make sure you write down, type it in, save a note, look up Del Jones. He got a lot of lectures online. He got books. He got a lot of books. Culture Bandits. He got volumes of Culture Bandits. He has Black Holocaust 2000. He got books and he got lectures online. So make sure you check him out.
Most definitely. Shout out to Dr. Amos Wilson.
Top level.
Love him.
Top level thinker.
Real African psychologist.
And like I was saying before too, before we started the interview, there's, you don't always 100% agree with everybody, but we shouldn't. You feel me? And especially us today, our job is to carry it further. You feel what I'm saying? From where these ancestors left it off. You feel me? So
speaking about that earlier, and I'm glad you brought that up. Picking up off the ancestors' work. I know you were saying something before that we need to look back and see what was wrong, what was right, and add on to it. Why do you think it's important that we continue to add on to what they did and actually, not saying we're critiquing what they did, but looking and see how can we modernize this? Why do you think that's so important?
Modernize it and perfect it. That's important because situations change, times change. You understand what I'm saying? The war changes, you feel me? Everything changes, you feel me? So because of that, if you stay stuck in one place and one perspective, you say, I'm strictly following exactly what this person said, man, you're going to get left behind, you feel me? So an intelligent person evolves with the time. I evolve more towards being an African, though, more towards being a warrior, not evolve into being pacified by Europeans and white supremacy. That's not evolution. But you got some people who do believe, I've evolved, we're evolving now. This is an evolving culture.
Right.
But they're evolving more towards adopting European domination and being more comfortable with white domination over African people. You feel what I'm saying? So that's not what I mean by evolving. I mean evolve in terms of how can we further Dr. Khalid Muhammad's perspective? How can we push it even further and more African, more warrior-like? You feel what I'm saying? How can we do that? Where was the flaw in the logic? You feel what I'm saying? And how can we correct that? How can we not be stuck with this ideology, this idea that, oh, our black and brown brothers and sisters. Today we know we ain't got no black and brown
brothers
and sisters. But Khalid Muhammad might have believed that. You feel me? Loving to death, but there were areas where he was wrong. Sometimes you get things wrong. His love for Farrakhan, he got that wrong. You feel what I'm saying? He was it's very rare to find footage of him criticizing Farrakhan.
Mm-hmm.
But had he lived to today, you feel what I'm saying? That brother would have saw Farrakhan kiss that white man in the mouth and been like, you feel what I'm saying? Fuck you. You feel me?
Facts.
But you know, the whole thing is you know, we have to be able to look at what they did, how far they brought it, and we have to move it even further. You know what I mean? Towards our sovereignty and our liberation.
Speaking of Farrakhan and those of his like, why do you think is once we get older, as you're saying, evolve, we don't stay the course. We kind of just get tired and just drift off. We're like, all right, I'm comfortable in white supremacy. I'm comfortable, you know, being under domination, all that stuff. I was talking in my 20s and 30s. I didn't know no better. Why do you think that happens to a lot of our people once they get up there in age?
That's another good question. I've never pondered why that happens. You feel what I'm saying? I have no idea. That's not a thought I've ever given. Like, I wonder why they. For me, for Farrakhan in particular, my perspective is that he probably always was wishy-washy. His words may have been correct all of that time, but he might have been planted in there a long time ago. When he betrayed Malcolm, he was already on the wrong side. So, you know, he still was talking that rah-rah for a long time, and then he eventually abandoned that as well. Someone like him, he was faulty from a long time, but for decades. You feel me?
Right.
But yeah, but I don't know. I really don't know what it is that why as people get older they seem to get soft. But again, Del Jones, you know what I mean? That's an older ancestor. That brother stayed strong all the way down to the end. You feel what I'm saying? Del Jones, Dr. Amos Wilson, Khalid Muhammad. You feel what I'm saying? They wasn't in their 30s and 40s. They was older. You feel me? So there was some strong warriors to look up to. Dr. Cress Wilson. You feel what I'm saying? All the way down to the end. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't know what that is. But it ain't in me. So.
That's right. So what? I guess with that, of you growing and coming into manhood and just getting up there in age now as a full-on man, what has kept you sane? What has helped you? What kept you from not straying, or let's say giving up? You know.
To me, wanting to see African people win is so important to me. You feel what I'm saying? Wanting to see us win, or wanting to see us give a good fight as much as possible. You feel me? All the way, you know, however it goes, however everything falls, I want to go out fighting. You feel what I'm saying? It ain't in me to give up. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so that's what's kept me strong. You know, it's funny because we had a conversation yesterday where we was talking about black male and black female relationships. You feel me? And one of the questions was, what do you say to sisters who are thinking about going outside of the race because they're disappointed in black men? It's like, and like I said, I ain't got no interest in a sister who may go outside of the race. I want a sister who's gonna stay dedicated to African people, regardless of what everybody else is doing around them. You feel what I'm saying? So your dedication to African people should not be contingent upon how other Africans are acting. It should be based upon how you feel about being an African, regardless of how everybody's acting. You might move to a city where everybody cooned out. So that means you're supposed to coon out because everybody cooning out. You feel what I'm saying? Right. So in that same line of reasoning, you know, it's like my love for being who I am and for what I am it supersedes any other. So there can be no disappointment or anything that's going to make me go astray or fall off my track because it's rooted in the core of who and what I am to be African. You know what I'm saying? And to keep my head high. You feel what I'm saying? And forward the fight.
What is the ideal black relationship right now? Like, what is your vision of what black relationships should look like?
Man, you trying to get me in trouble.
I gotta ask, brother.
Ideal. I just want to see black men with black women, right? Dang, that's a good question because are you talking about polygamy or no?
Nah.
Okay, well, what are you talking about?
I'm just talking. It could be in there.
Yeah.
I'm not an advocate for it, but I'm saying for you, just what would you like to see from black relationships? Like, what is just a basic general idea?
See black men and black women thriving together. You understand what I'm saying? In healthy, happy relationships with each other. You feel what I'm saying? Producing black children, bringing more black life into this world. You know, that's one of the most precious and valuable things you can do on this planet is to bring black life into this world. So, but it's really hard to answer that question because, it's kind of broad.
No, you answered it really. That's basically what it is. What's the idea we need to see? And it's, as I was saying earlier, sometimes we try to jump up and try to theorize it, but really it's that simple. Black man, black woman, have some black children, healthy, honest, communicative, like you were saying.
Yeah, healthy, not with all the craziness going on and all that type of stuff, because people are, we are broken people. We've been broken, you feel what I'm saying? And we are damaged, I would say, you feel me? So, yeah, absolutely work our best to work with each other and be with each other without allowing white supremacy to destroy our relationship.
I agree, and I think it starts with what you just said. Like the brother behind you, we gotta admit, we slaves. We sick. We was born here. We've been under white supremacy way before we've been under consciousness.
We are a black child who was adopted and we're kidnapped. But I'm just giving you an example of what, like today we can see there are black children who've been adopted and raised by Europeans, and you see what that does to them. That's what that's been done to us, and worse, for the last 400-500 years. As a whole group of people, adopted, kidnapped, raised, reared, brainwashed by Europeans. You feel me? For 400-500 years. We still here, but it shows what us being in contact with these people, us adopting their language, us adopting their religions, us adopting their way of eating, their food habits, their sexual habits, disgusting sexual habits, you feel me? The range, you know what I mean, from homosexuality to pedophilia, all of that we've got from being around these people. This is madness going on. I saw a video on Instagram, some dude humping on a mannequin. You feel me? Like, that's European shit. That's necrophilia, to want to hump on something that's dead, that can't even have any life in it and respond to you. You feel me? But that's us being around them for so long. You feel me? It shows. So
on a homosexuality, but that's already. I was like, that's already kind of self-explanatory.
It should be, right? Black man should know that a black man should be with a black woman. A black woman should know that she should be with a black man. Like, to me, that's the basic foundation of African people. You feel me? That's another thing Brother Ram always say. The foundation of black people is a black man and a black woman create a black child. We was having a discussion about Black Lives Matter, and I was like, how can Black Lives matter to you if a black wife don't matter? If it doesn't matter to you to be with a black woman to produce black life, how can a black life matter if you're not trying to produce black life? I don't get that, right? Because if you're gonna do another woman, you ain't producing black life.
Okay, so speaking of Black Lives Matter, what are your thoughts on the whole Black Lives Matter and everything going on?
Well, ultimately, the term Black Lives Matter is an appeal to white sympathy. You're trying to beg white people to recognize that black lives mean something. But if you don't realize from all of our history of dealing with these people that nothing you can say, you understand what I'm saying, they have not changed. And all the time we've been dealing with these people, there's no reason or need. Because the question becomes, who are you trying to convince that black lives matter to? You feel what I'm saying? Who are you talking to? You feel me? You're talking to the Klan and these racist police who's killing you? What's the point of you trying to tell them that? You feel what I'm saying? Because they already killing you. They already don't like you. And if you're trying to convince the white people who do like you that black lives matter, what have they done to ensure that black lives stick around in a healthy way? You feel what I'm saying? Nothing. So no matter who you're talking to, it ain't gonna work. You're talking to the quote unquote good white folks who quote unquote love black people and help black people. What have they done in the history of black people to ensure that black lives are existing on this planet in a quality manner? You feel what I'm saying? And ensure black freedom. What have they done? They clearly haven't done anything, otherwise you wouldn't be out there marching. You feel me? And if you're talking to the racists, then you're talking to a wall. There ain't no point. The racist ones, the bad ones, the evil ones, if you're talking to them, what's the point in talking to them? Because talking don't work with them. You feel what I'm saying? Like Malcolm X said, you need to speak to them in their language. You feel me? That whatever language they're speaking to you in, which is violence, you got to speak back to them in violence. They understand that. You feel me? So, yeah, Black Lives Matter is an appeal for white help. You feel me? These people do not have the confidence in the power of black people to do for ourselves and to solve our problems on our own. So they believe that what we need to be doing is begging these people for mercy, begging these people for their sympathy, and trying to convince them that our lives mean something. That's what the term and the slogan Black Lives Matter translates in reality, and to my understanding. Now, in terms of the actual movement, which is funded by a white billionaire, so when whoever plays the piper plays the tune, right, or calls the tune, he who pays the piper decides how the tune is going to be. So if you're being funded by a white billionaire, then clearly your agenda ain't truly yours. You feel me? And then also, the women who created Black Lives Matter came out themselves, out of their own mouths, and said, our mission was to queer the movement. Our mission is to queer the movement. That's what they said. They didn't say our mission is to ensure that black people can exist on this planet, proud, productive, and bring good African families into this world. Our mission is to destroy white supremacy, to destroy white domination over this planet, over black people. You feel me? To ensure that black people are given their just due. No, they didn't say that's what their mission was. Their mission was to queer the movement. That's what they said out of their own mouth. So I don't care about queering the movement. That's insane to me. You feel what I'm saying? Queering the movement means bringing in European insanity into African minds. You feel me? Your mission is to do that. So that's against my mission, because to me, how can you fight against a European if your soul is European based on what you've become and how you behave? So, yeah.
Shells. Let's start with Ahmaud. Ahmaud Arbery. Did you see that video, sir?
I saw the video.
What was your thoughts?
My thoughts on that was that, look, ultimately, with all of these things that's going on, I don't know much about Ahmaud Arbery. I don't know if he was with a white woman or a black woman, you feel what I'm saying? Because that's the thing with me, I don't believe in us putting our lives on the line for people who are not dedicated to black people. You feel me? So if this man was with a white woman or whatever, then he made his bed, buddy. You understand what I'm saying? But if he wasn't, then we need to be fighting hard for him. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't know those type of details. Okay. But in terms of just the context of Europeans being racially aggressive against black people, my feeling about that is that African people need response teams. That's what we need. We need designated warriors who are willing to put it on the line to go out there and produce justice on our own. You feel what I'm saying? Without begging for anything. No hoorah, no hoopla, no yelling, no none of that. Just go get the job done. You understand what I'm saying? If you can't get the one, you get someone close enough to where the message is clear. You touch ours, we touch several of yours, and you cannot sustain that type of numbers. You lose the type of numbers. You feel me? And that's what I believe in. I believe there should be black response teams to these acts and incidents of racial aggression against black people. And I do know that there are warriors who are willing to put in that type of work. Part of the problem, I believe, is that they lack leadership. The idea has not been properly formulated or put out to the community. I ain't never heard nobody talking about it. And then also, they lack community support. That's another thing.
Talk about that.
Yeah, that's very, very important for warriors. I know that when it comes to the European military, when they go out to fight, their families are taken care of. You know, they got GI Bills and they got bases and whatever where their families can stay and all that type of stuff, so their warriors or soldiers can go out and fight and do whatever. And when that soldier is retired on the battlefield, he can go back to camp base and be fed by his community, right, who support it, which is the American public. He can be fed, he can be armed by them. They're going to supply you with a firearm, they're going to supply you with your food, they're going to give you your uniform, they're going to help you map out the logistics of the whole assault. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So they have community support, therefore they're able to fight. You feel what I'm saying? We have warriors who are willing to fight, but with no community support. Even in Vietnam, the people that was fighting against this white man, the community was supporting them. The community was digging ditches and holes and tunnels for them to hide in or to ambush from. You feel what I'm saying? They were feeding their warriors. You feel what I'm saying? Our warriors is out here having to go work 9 to 5 jobs. You feel what I'm saying? If you really want them warriors, support them.
Okay, and speaking of 30 days, we're about 30 days in right now. George Floyd. George Floyd.
Right.
When I say that name, what comes across your brain?
A porn star. I'm hearing this with a white girl. At the same time, though, I don't know if I can trust everything that's coming out. I know he had a Masonic tattoo on his chest. So there's all this different things going on. So I would have to answer it in the same way for the last dude. If you out here messing with these Europeans, you got what you was asking for. You feel what I'm saying? You gotta take that L. You gotta take that one on the chin. You're on your own, buddy. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you was dedicated to black people in terms of, you know, you with a black woman. You feel what I'm saying? You're supporting your black family. I'm not asking you to be out there on the front lines fighting against white supremacy in order to garner my support. I'm just asking you to be a decent black person. You feel what I'm saying? Love black people enough to be with a black person. You feel me? And love black people enough to support your family. If you're doing something like that, then, you know, I believe they should get full support. You feel me? And again, if there's propaganda out there to try to confuse the narrative, that's one thing that we have to look into. You feel me? But when it comes to George Floyd, again, I'm not with marching and protesting and all of that type of stuff. It's a decent black person that needs to be response teams. I don't think the whole of African people are required to get out there and get it in terms of responses to racial aggression. You feel what I'm saying? We don't all have to respond. You feel me? But I do believe there should be a select group who goes out and takes care of business. And I think that when incidents like that happen, you know, there should be funerals on both sides.
Totally agree. And you bring up a good point. I think I guess I need to ask this question. So they kill us already because we black. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
No.
No? Okay, go ahead.
That's just but it's a semantic. It's
True.
not really. Yes, they kill us because we black, but they really kill us because they're white. They kill us because of who they are and what's wrong with them. Okay, and so we kind of adopt this thing like they did it to me because I was black. You feel me? Well, the reality of it is, there's nothing wrong with being black. They're the ones that have the problem. So it's their psychosis that made them want to kill us and be aggressive against us. That's the only reason I would disagree with that statement. Not because the statement's untrue per se. It's just that in terms of semantics, I think that we as black people need to get out of the idea that it's our blackness that's causing racial hatred, when in reality it's their whiteness and who they are that is what's wrong with that. A question that was in that line, in that vein, I'm willing to answer it. I just would like to correct that.
No, thank you. Because you're right about that. The reason the question was phrased like that because I was about to go into the police thing, but you're 100% right. So I'm glad you clarified that and cleaned that up. Because like I said, it's nothing wrong with being black. They have the issue, so there's nothing wrong with that. When the police do, we have those interactions. We see black men and black women being killed. Do you think that it is important, or we shouldn't care that there's just a black person was killed? We should want to assess the situation more thoroughly and figure out who this black person was and what they were doing. Then we want to, how do I want to phrase this? Then we can make sure, we can assess if we want to respond to that or not.
Okay.
I didn't ask it in a perfect sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But the way I feel about something like that is, ultimately, I do think it's important to find out the type of person that people are. This goes across the board. I've always said this when it comes to supporting black businesses. People say, oh, support black businesses, buy black. But if a black dude's married to a white girl, I don't want to put no money in his pocket. Fuck him. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you're not married to a black woman. I don't care if you got a freaking t-shirt business and I need t-shirts. I'll go to somebody. I'd rather buy from a white person than buy from a black person married to a white person. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So I do think it's important for that investigative aspect. However, the total context under which we exist in this nation is warfare. You feel what I'm saying? These people are already in full throttle engagement against us. We just ain't fighting back. You feel what I'm saying? So there's really no need to do any investigating. If people started dying every day and it's reported on the news from today for the next 10 years, black people, we already have all of the justification to go at it with these people who are going at it against us. You feel what I'm saying? We already got all the justification. We could just look back, and look at today. You feel me? So the idea of there needing to be an investigation for an aggressive response, I think our aggressive response needs to be on autopilot, regardless of if nothing happens from today on to the next 10 years to a black person. We already have more than enough reason to be on autopilot against these people. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I feel about it.
It does, and I'm gonna double back with that one more time. So basically, let's simplify it for the people out there. So basically, if a brother or sister is, let's use the word a coon, and they die just You know, you got a white woman and white kids and, you know, mixed kids, this, that, and third. So basically you're saying black people, we need to put our time into something more productive.
Yes. Okay, George Floyd, had a white girl, right? We shouldn't care. From that point, from the moment you find out about that, all right, on to the next. Let's be more worried about Breonna Taylor. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's all I'm saying. So it's like, I feel like, because it's like this. I'm gonna keep it keep it buck with you. I feel like this. Like if you out with your homeboys, right, and y'all in the club, and your homeboy get into it with somebody, because that's your boy and you with him, off the rip, you support him in this melee, this brawl that's going down. You automatically jumping in. Later, you get back home and you find out, oh, bro, you was on some bullshit up there. You started some shit that didn't need to be started. Oh, we're gonna have an issue because you found out later. But you gotta go off the information that you have. You know what I mean? So from jump, it just looked like, hey, your homeboy's in the situation. I gotta go jump in. You feel what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. It's like, you know, with a black person, you feel me, off top, you feel me? But I would have hated to have been there. I'm really glad I wasn't there because I'd have felt obligated to get involved. You feel what I'm saying? I probably could have lost my life that day.
Right.
And then to find out later that he's cooled out, you feel what I'm saying? Right. Oh man, I'd have took the ultimate African people would have took an L. Losing.
I took the ultimate African people would have took an L. Losing me.
I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but I love my people like that. You feel what I'm saying? Yo, we would have took an L, we would have lost one. You know what I mean? Over something like, over a worthless individual. You feel me? So the question requires a little bit of, you know, more. The reality of it is, if you're on code and you see something happen to a black person, you are obligated to help. But I also feel if you know or find out that this person is a worthless individual, he turns out to be a child molester or something, fuck him, turn that shit off, and move on to the next thing. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So the same thing, like I said, you know, you're in a situation, and you know you're obligated to help your homeboy, you help the homeboy, but when you find out later that dude was totally in the wrong, you feel me? Then you handle it there.
But with that going on, so you said that the proper response is just having teams in place, right? So I'll ask with that right now, what should be black people's number one focus in the year 2020? What should be our number one focus, you would say?
Well, we're living under white domination. Our number one focus should be coming from up under white domination. And there's a whole lot that entails. You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot that needs to be done, a lot of work that needs to be done.
Right.
A lot of our people don't even believe we're dominated right now. You know what I mean? They don't understand that we are speaking the European language, we are eating European diet, we are worshiping the European gods, we are answering to a white man in every aspect of our life. You feel what I'm saying? By their permission. Everything you do is with their permission, whether it's driving your car down the road, getting it registered at the DMV, traveling overseas, you gotta get some type of permission. You feel what I'm saying? You're pretty much under the rulership of another people. You know, your food supply is from another people. You feel me? Even the weapons you might need to defend yourself is coming from another people. You're dominated. You feel what I'm saying? So our number one goal, and this is a broad statement to say this.
Go ahead.
Should be to come from up under white domination. So then now you have to be more specific. What are some of the things that we need to do in order to do that? You feel what I'm saying? And it's really crazy because here we are having to articulate how to get free from Europeans in a European language, and we have no other way to do it outside of. So now you're already enslaved and caged, locked into their tongue in order to express your African freedom. It's fucked up. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
We're in a fucked up situation. But at the end of the day, the more physical domination, the more economic enslavement that we're up under, and all of that, we need to be working towards. So that should be the number one goal of every black person alive today. How am I going to get free from European domination? These people are destroying the planet. You feel me? Literally, okay? They have poisoned the water supply. They got fluoride in your water. They've genetically modified damn near all the food. You feel what I'm saying? They got Terminator seeds in Africa where you plant a seed in the ground and nothing will grow but that seed. And if you want to grow something else, you got to go to the person who sells that seed to plant that same seed in the ground. It's the only way you're going to get a crop. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
This is crazy madness. They talking about blocking the sun. And all, my bad, they're not talking about it. They're working towards blocking the sun. You feel me? These are things that these people have no business business being in control of this planet, because you look at the things that they're doing every day, that the chemtrails and just the poisoning of the atmosphere and all of that, the destructive nature. I ain't got no business being. So to me, that really should be the number one goal or focus of black people, is how are we gonna remove these people from power. You feel?
With all this comes unity. And then, we hear this so much.
Right.
Unity. We gotta unite, brother. Brother, you being divisive. We gotta unite.
Divisive.
Yeah.
Right.
We need unity.
Right.
What do you think about that word unity in 2012? I mean, I said 2020.
Right. 2020, man. Shoot. Divisive. I think that being divisive is important. You feel what I'm saying? Because you have to divide out the worthless people so that you can have good people, on your team. And so I believe that we do need unity, but amongst good African people. And amongst black people who have clarity. You feel what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, if you're unifying a bunch of people who don't even have no clarity, bro, what are you going to accomplish? You feel me? What real unity, what does that even amount to? Because you don't have a unity of purpose. You don't have a unity of understanding of the situation. You feel me? You got people running around talking about this all kind of madness, aliens in outer space. Why would I want to unify with somebody who's telling me about aliens? George Zimmerman was not no alien. You feel what I'm saying? The people who actually are affecting real life, black life in this country and on this planet are not aliens from outer space.
Right.
They're flesh and blood people who are actively engaged in black destruction. You feel me? So I can't unify with people who are that far off into the clouds, man, or even just that don't have the same unity of purpose, unity of understanding, unity of goal. You feel what I'm saying? So no, I don't believe in that type of unity. I think good black people with some common sense and understanding should unify them.
Because we got so many different sects of black people who say, and we all got to unite.
Right.
And as you said, how are we going to unite with these people when it ain't no purpose?
Right.
Or you talking about aliens and we here on Earth under destruction.
Right.
So let's start with Hebrew Israelites. What is your take on the Hebrew Israelites? Do we need to unify with them?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it depends on what group. I know there are different groups of Hebrew Israelites, but for the most part, we all know they all believe in that same book. You feel what I'm saying? So can't run from that. You feel me? So first of all, the first problem with the Hebrew Israelite is the fact that he believes he's a Hebrew Israelite. He believes that his people are those people in that book, as gay as they were. You feel what I'm saying? Like the Hebrews of the Bible were a group of destitute Middle Easterners who were struck with famines all the time, which sounds just like these Arabs in the Middle East, and had to keep coming into Africa to get saved and rescued by African resources. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the very basis of the Hebrew Israelite. Abraham, you feel me? Abraham left his homeland and came down into the promised land, you feel me? Ran into a famine and had to go to the Pharaoh and pimped his wife out to them and left away with more riches than when he walked in. You feel what I'm saying? That was a real Jew move right there.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So we talk about the real Jews, like, okay, well, if you really a Jew, then how come you ain't got the Jew moves? You feel me? Like, so that to me, that's a characteristic. You feel me? That would tell you whether or not you're a Hebrew Israelite. You feel me? Do you have that same type of characteristic to go into somebody's land, lie to them, manipulate them, tell them your wife is your sister, let her go into that person's house so that they fooled into that, and then he comes out. It's funny because they're telling this story, right, as if they're so righteous, and he wanted to be with my wife and blah blah blah, and so God struck him. But the Pharaoh came out and said, if I'd have known she was your wife, I wouldn't have touched her. You lied to me and said it was your sister. So even then, when they're telling this story, because the whole Bible is to pit you against the Africans, to pit you against the Egyptian. You feel me? That thing. So even in telling this story, the Pharaoh's morality slips through because he says, had I known that was your wife, I would have never touched her. Today people, they don't care if she married or not. They trying to get it. You feel what I'm saying? So that tells you the morality of this Pharaoh. You feel me? That he wouldn't even touch this woman. But anyways, at the end of the day, Abraham lied to him, manipulated him, and the Pharaoh was like, look, man, go and get up out of here. I don't want nothing to do with y'all. Here, take this gold, take these camels. And Abraham walked out of there richer than when he walked in. He walked in destitute, poor, and hungry. because he was fleeing from a famine. You feel me?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing this European does to us or any other people that come into our community, you know, with less and they leave with way more than what they came. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's the characteristic of a Hebrew Israelite. Why would I want to identify with that? It's Abraham. You feel me? He founded all three of those religions. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They all claim him as their founding father.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that pimp behavior. And he didn't just do it once, he did it twice. After he left Israel, after he left Egypt, he went on and met this guy named Abimelech and did the same thing to Abimelech. Lied to him, told him his wife was his sister. His sister went into the house. Abimelech gets cursed. And Abimelech says, man, why you tell me this was your sister? If I'd have known it was your wife, woo, get on out of here, and sent him away with far more money. So this is a pimp scheme going. Why are we identifying with a group of people who constantly belittle and degrade Africa in this book? Because the Hebrews and the Israelites in the Bible are pitted against the Egyptians. The Egyptians enslaved them and forced them to work. They ain't got no proof that people ever even was in there. So the whole point is that that's my first issue with being a Hebrew Israelite, is that you're identifying with the enemy of Africa. The other thing is, you already know a lot of them still believe that, you know, as long as a girl's bleeding, she's 12 years old, she's okay to go into. You feel what I'm saying? Because the Bible says it. So they're so strictly literal with this Bible, you know what I mean? But my ultimate problem as well, I ain't gonna say ultimate, but because obviously child molestation is pretty bad.
Definitely.
But in terms of, because I'm always looking at things in a war context, the Hebrew Israelite faith requires them to not respond to white aggression until Yeshua comes out of the sky and assists them with his millions of agents. So here's an ideology that is never going to topple white supremacy until some crazy event that is never going to happens. That's the only trigger that they're going to be allowed to actually fight white supremacy. So they're stuck within the ideology that's going to keep them docile, regardless of how hard they might work out, how well they may train, how well they may cadence and march and yell in unison with each other. At the end of the day, that's just a drumline band. You feel what I'm saying? Because they're not going to be racially aggressive against our racial enemies until this event that's never going to happens. So they have this trap door to escape fighting against white supremacy. Jesus is their savior, right? And regardless of whether you believe Jesus was black or white, this is what I always tell people. I never heard anybody say this, but I say it all the time. Jesus was a man who did not fight for his life. Okay? He died he walked to his death peacefully. Okay? So whether you believe he was white, whether you believe he was black, you cannot take that out of the story. This was a man who was not willing to fight for his life. So if every black man decided to follow in the footsteps of Jesus, bro, what position would we be in? We would not be willing to fight for our lives. So these Hebrew Israelites propping up Jesus as our savior and as someone, a role model that we should follow after, that's black manhood being docile. You feel what I'm saying? That's not black manhood at all. You feel me? I know you want to say something that later, but I'm just saying, like, that's a major issue here. Your most prime example of black manhood, because black Hebrew Israelites believe Jesus was a black man, wasn't even willing to fight for his life. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And if we all adopted that mentality, we'd be hella screwed. We already screwed, but we'd really be screwed.
Right.
So that's why. That's my issue with Hebrew Israelites.
Okay, thanks for laying that out proper. The next set we're gonna go into the Moors. Do we need to unite with Moors?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Can't tell us why.
Look, man, these Moors, and again, I do recognize that there are different sects of Moors. You feel me? There's the Moors who believe M-U-U-R, Mur, that they're like from some island, that Pangea type of island that was from way long time ago. They're the original Americans and all that stuff, those Moors. And then you have the other Moors who wear the red Kool-Aid cups on top of their heads because they drink the Kool-Aid. Moors who, they're the ones that learn all the law books and black law dictionaries. And why you calling yourself black, brother? Black means death. You feel what I'm saying? And the Moors went to Spain and we conquered the European and all of that. So there's two types. So, you know, I would kind of deal with them separately, but I'm gonna deal with them together. But the first group that I mentioned, they're not as popular as the second group. So the issue with these Moors who believe in Atlantis and Lemuria and these islands and all that, I don't see how that's helping us today. You understand what I'm saying? So the first group of Moors that I mentioned, there's not enough of them. They're not that popular. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't agree with them in terms of these fantastic fantasies that they believe in. You feel me? And aliens and all this type of junk. So that's why I don't agree with them. The other Moors, which are the ones that wear the red hat, the fez on top of their head, those are the ones that are into black law dictionaries and whatnot. And they believe that if we just learn the law and we throw this law to this white man's face, he's going to get his act together. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
The issue, and they talk about these treaties they have. The major issue with these Moors is that they have not yet graduated to the understanding that you and I have, that this European is going to be what he is and do what he do regardless of what law book you can show him on a piece of paper. He don't give a fuck. Even if he wrote it or we wrote it or whoever wrote it, he violates natural laws, nature laws, quote unquote God's laws, biblical laws. He can be a Christian and violate the law tomorrow. So they have not yet graduated to the understanding that the European don't give a fuck about what's written on paper, not written on paper, what's declared by God, declared by nature. He gonna do what he do regardless. So studying all these black law dictionaries and throwing this law into this white man's face and saying, look, you said in the Constitution right here that you're gonna do X, Y, and Z. He ain't gonna honor it. He ain't gonna honor his words like a liar. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You know he's a liar. So what's the point of you learning all of this, thinking that that is going to somehow change this white man's heart, which is what Black Lives Matter think too, and force him to reckon and say, well, you know what, yeah, I did say that in this treaty of X, Y, Z, therefore I'm going to correct the situation. No. My major issue with them is that they still believe in the goodness of the European who's ruling over us. They have not yet graduated to the understanding that the European is an enemy and he doesn't care. You feel what I'm saying? He's going to do what he does because he has the power to do it, not because of what's written in a book or not written in a book or a law book or whatever, or laws on the books. So that's one of the major issues that I have with them, is because it doesn't click to them that this European is beast. You feel what I'm saying? The other issue I have with them is that this whole, we conquered Spain and we went into Spain and we had so much sex with white women because we conquered Spain, we went into Spain, and we found them that they didn't know how to take baths, and we taught them how to take baths, and then we had so much sex with them that we drowned the Mediterranean. They was just out there cooling. They was Africa's rejects. If that happened, they left Africa, found white women, and then got their ass kicked out of Spain. You feel me? So it's just like the Moors helped Christopher Columbus navigate the ocean while he was enslaving African people. So that's another reason I can identify with a group of people who was betraying African people. With this whole Mansa Musa thing, you know, people, oh, he was the richest black man that ever existed. But did you know how many slaves this man owned? You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He carried so much gold to Egypt and Mecca that he threw off the Egyptian economy. Okay, who do you think carried that gold? You
That was
think
what I was about to say.
Think Mansa Musa carried that gold on his back? No.
Right. Who was carrying that
He
gold
forced some
on feet?
Africans, right, to carry that gold. So, and gold is heavy. So, you know, man, that's my issue with the Moors, man. They just, it's something wrong with them. And again, they're another group of people who, they're not going to ever be aggressive against this white man until every black person stops calling themselves black and adopts Moorish ideology, which is something that will never happen. So they have a trapdoor as well against fighting aggressively against white domination, because now they can say, well, you know, I ain't gonna do nothing because, you know, we not ready yet. We ain't gonna get ready until all of us recognize we not black. We really the Moors. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So, which will never happen.
Right.
So you'll never have to fight the white man. You feel me? So that's my issue with them as well. They have a trapdoor out of fighting white supremacy.
Okay. I'm with you on that. I'm following right along, because at the end of the day, as you're laying out, since antiquity, they've just been treasonous people to Africans. If they were black, Hebrews, Moors, all that, you were not working. Africans were being enslaved, or even in the Bible times, all this is going on, and you didn't do nothing.
That's the same argument I tell the Hebrew Israelites, because they kind of hit you with the King James was black, right? He was a black man. The King of England, he was a black Hebrew Israelite. So then I asked him, I said, okay, so what year did King James exist? 1610. Okay, well, if King James existed in 1610, what was going on in 1610? The enslavement of African people.
Right.
And you're the King of England? And English people are enslaving African. So you basically are admitting to me that your author of your Bible, your leader, your holy man, your G homie, you feel what I'm saying, from way back yonder, was a participant in African enslavement, or he deliberately turned a blind eye to it while he had the power to stop it because he's King James, right? Look at these historical figures. When you look at Mansa Musa, or you look at King James, if you want to accept him as black, which I don't, but if you do want to accept him as black, the major question should always be, what did they do for Africa? If they did nothing for our people, I don't care how much money he ever made, it don't mean nothing to me. You feel what I'm saying? I don't care if he was the king of England and he ruled over white people. If he didn't use that
So, the next set, Muslims. Do we need to unite with Muslims? Should we unite with Muslims?
First of all, when you talking about a black Muslim or the Nation of Islam, or you talking about?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm really just saying
Muslims
period.
Oh, no.
Okay.
And the reason I would say that is because, first of all, their holy land is not even a black land. They pray towards Arabia. They learn an Arab language. They wear Arab clothes in order to basically adopt an Arabic lifestyle. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, like, what's the point in an Islamicized black man? You feel what I'm saying? What's the point in uniting with somebody who believes Arabia is the holiest land on the planet? I'm an African. I'm gonna believe Africa is the holiest land on the planet. You feel me? If I'm gonna pray towards a land, I'm gonna pray towards African land. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
If I want to learn a whole new language, I'm gonna learn African language. You feel what I'm saying? If I'm gonna wear some new style of clothes, I'm gonna wear African clothes. You feel me? Why Arabic? Why Arabia? Because the Arabs created a religion. I believe that every group of people had their own political and religious perspective and ideas for how we got here, what God is, and what spirituality is. So you have Native Americans who had their own belief system. You had Jews and Hebrews who had their own belief system. You had Greeks who had their own belief system and their gods like Zeus and all of that type of stuff. You had Romans with their belief system. You had Arabs with their belief system and how we got here. And you got Buddhists and Indians with their belief system over there in India. And you had Chinese with Shinto and Africans with our Vodun and all of our spiritualistic perspectives. You feel what I'm saying? Which kind of all relate to each other. So why me as a black man would I adopt the belief system of a whole nother race of people? You feel me? Perspective. So I can't see myself being unified with someone who has a Caucasian Arab in his brain as his leader. You feel me? As his spiritual leader. As a black man. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, some people will say, well, yeah, Muhammad was black. You feel what I'm saying? And where you get that from? You feel me?
Right.
Because those other little books that surround the Quran say he was pale as mud. He was a white man. They actually say he was white. Farrakhan himself said Muhammad was a white man. And I ain't talking about Fard Muhammad. I'm talking about Muhammad of Mecca.
Right.
That dude. You feel me? The one that wrote or recited the Quran. He didn't write it because he wasn't literate. But
Right.
according to the story, you feel me? I don't even know if any of it's true. But the one who's allegedly recited the Quran and other people later wrote down, you feel me? That person was a white man, according to all of the Islamic tradition, including Farrakhan out his own mouth. He was a white man. So why would it's hard to respect another black man who looks to a white man as his spiritual leader, bro. That shit don't make no sense to me. You feel me? So that's the number one reason why we shouldn't unite with anyone that's a Muslim or Islamicist. You feel what I'm saying? Because you're a black man with a little white man in your brain, a little tiny white man sitting there controlling all the dials, like, on the keyboard.
Beat machine, right?
Yeah, white man on the beat machine in your brain. You feel me? So yeah, bro, like that's an issue for me. You feel me? We're up in this doubt. We should be actively trying to rid ourselves of. That's what it's about.
Right.
So that's so if I know, like, okay, man, this is some bullshit, I shouldn't be on it. You feel me? I shouldn't be doing this XYZ. You feel me? Then I should be actively trying to rid myself of it. So in that same line of reasoning, someone who's dedicated to Islam will tell you, I'm dedicated to this. This is what I'm about. And earlier, I don't know if I said it on camera, but I said that Islam is probably the number one brainwashed religion that's hard to pry somebody up out of. And I believe the reason is because of the conditioning that comes along with becoming a Muslim. That's the reason why. It's because it restructures so much of your life to become a Muslim. It restructures so much of your life that is, if you do that, it's like you ain't gonna wanna. What else am I supposed to do? You feel what I'm saying? So it's like this. They did this study a long time ago. It's in a book called The Manipulated Mind. It was a psychological study that they did. It was way back in like the 60s, where they had these people stand in line to watch this boring movie. They made sure the movie was the most boring movie possible, okay? They had these people stand in a long line and pay a bunch of money to get into the movie and watch the movie. They had another group of people get in immediately, almost for free, to watch the same boring movie. The people who went into that movie and watched it for free and got in real easily, didn't have to stand in line, 5 minutes into that movie, they was like, this shit boring, I'm out of here. They got out. The people who had to stand in a long line, pay a bunch of money to get in, you know what they did? They stayed. And you know why they stayed? Because they felt like, I invested all this time, man. It's going to get better. I know it's going to get better. Shoot, man, I sat out there for 15 minutes. Sat out there for 30 minutes. I'm about to watch this movie.
Right.
They stuck to it. And that's what Islam does to people. I just learned a whole new language. I taught to pray. Malcolm X said when you learn how to pray like an Arab, his knees hurt and his ankles hurt for weeks. You feel what I'm saying?
Wow.
So it's like they've gone through all of this struggle to learn this new religion, to learn another language, to pray 5 times a day, to stop whatever you're doing in the middle of your day, to get out your car or whatever and pray towards the east 5 times a day. You go through all of this struggle to learn this new religion. That's why it sticks to them so much, because of what they've gone through to get there. It's hard for them to just give it right up. And I think that's what it is, why it's so powerful in the minds of people, man. So it's a dangerous thing too, because then what happens when you get the order from your Arab God, or you get the order from your Arab Imam, you know, to attack African people? It's the same thing with the people in the military. You know what happens when you get that order from your superior? You feel what I'm saying? We see it every day with these black cops. They do it. They carry it out. It's black military people right now in Africa under AFRICOM. You feel what I'm saying? Carrying out the orders.
Subconscious at that too.
Of course. Of course. Man, I'm telling you, man,
Yeah.
I don't trust them. So, yeah, bro, like, I cannot, why would I unify with someone with a little tiny white man in the back of his brain? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That he's dedicated to that. He's not saying, you know what, I was raised a Muslim, but I've learned the truth and I'm working actively to rid myself of that type of mentality. No, I'm a Muslim. I pray towards the east. I speak Arabic. You're a freaking Arab. So,
basically.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And these people right here are not really I guess you can call them a sect. They're trying to create that. They're trying to get there. Well, first let me ask this: because we're gonna talk about the Aboriginal people real quick.
Okay.
Do you believe, or do you adhere to the they came before Columbus theory?
Okay. All right. Let me say this. I do not discount the possibility that black people had the capability of traveling across seas from Africa to come over here in America and be here before Columbus. I don't think that's impossible. I think that makes some sense. Where I have an issue with those people is when they try to say we were already here, period. This is our birthland from jump, even though the oldest fossils and bones can be found in Africa. They're trying to claim America to remove themselves from Africa because they're not proud of being Africans. You feel what I'm saying? So that's not before Columbus. They talk about before eons and eons and eons. To me, that don't make sense. Especially when, if you look at China, you find a large concentration of Chinese people. If you look at India, you know what you find? A large concentration of Indian people. When you look at Europe, you find a large concentration of European people. When you look at Africa, you find a very large concentration of African black people. You know what I'm saying? That look like us with our same hair texture.
Right.
So these people, with these Indians are here, even though they've been scattered and wiped out in some areas, but you go to them Andes Mountains down there in South America, they still up there in their traditional whatever, you feel what I'm saying? They there. Where'd they come from? You feel what I'm saying? So my thing is, those black people who are trying to remove and usurp and take the identity of another race of people that were here, those people I don't agree with. Those people who say blacks were here before Columbus or even here for a very long time, but do acknowledge that we came from Africa, I'm cool with that. I think a lot of the evidence does bear that there were black people here before Columbus. I'm not disagreeing with that. I disagree with someone trying not to be an African because of whatever that history might say. To me, that don't make no sense because we know where we come from and we know who we look like. You don't look nothing like no Pocahontas. Get out of here. You feel me? You wish your hair looked like that. That's why you going to, you know what I'm saying? The S curl and perm and all of that. So, yeah, I do not believe that this is our own. And this is the thing. What is the purpose of saying it? Are you willing to fight harder now? If believing in that is gonna make you fight against this white man, are you trying to take it back?
Are you gonna take your land back?
You feel me? Come on now. Look, man, let me tell you something, man. These Native Americans, they lost this continent to a boatload, a handful of Europeans. You feel me? We still got our continent.
Right.
You feel me? Yeah, we being dominated over there, but there's still a large concentration of Africans, a whole lot of human potential to get it back. You feel me? I ain't seen a Native American, like, ever. You feel me? Like, unless I go to Sandman Well. You feel what I'm saying? For real. So it's like, bruh, they lost a whole continent. You're over here trying to attach yourself to a race of people who lost. You feel what I'm saying? Like, completely. You ain't no. They're not even interested in taking it back. The Native Americans should be the #1 terrorists in this country. They should be flying planes taking it back. They just more worried about getting drunk and owning casinos. So it's like, I ain't got time for that. So yeah, you want to identify with them, cool, but no. But in terms of were black people here before Columbus, I think a lot of evidence that Ivan Van Sertima did, he did a good job. And you know what else he exposed? He exposed that black people were here fighting against the Native Americans. That's what he exposed, and we did a live. I think we did a live on that.
We did.
You know what I'm saying?
We did.
And yeah, so Ivan Van Sertima did say black people were here for Columbus, but he didn't say there were no otherbody else here as well.
Right.
He said there were Native Americans here, and they had enslaved and captured the black people who were here as well, and they were warring with them for a period of time. Matter of fact, in his book it says constantly at war. You feel what I'm saying? So, man, yeah, later for that.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, and I'm glad you said that, because people act like we with the black and brown thing, and it's like, yo, okay, even if that we were here, we want to say that we were born with these people.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day, so they not our friends. And then if you look at the 5 civilized tribes,
Right.
a lot of people don't really do their history saying that the reason Indians or Native Americans are in a fucked up position right now is because you took up arms with the South to keep black people enslaved. And that's why American Stalking Tree just march, motherfucker. So I agree with you, and the history needs to be laid out clear so black people understand.
I'll give you another example that black people were not the Native Americans or the same thing, because a lot of times they're
Black manhood. What is black manhood to you, and what would you say it looks like?
in my opinion, black manhood collectively does not exist. It doesn't exist because black manhood would not exist under the domination of another group of people. You feel me? It's one thing to be ruled by other black people. You know what's funny? There's an old recording of Farrakhan where he says, "You went from being a white man's fool to a black man's fool. Now where the hell does that lead you?" And I'm like, well, shit, I'd rather be a black man's fool than a white man's fool. You feel me? But, you know, the thing is, it's like not being under control of our own destiny right now, not being under control of our resources for survival, not being under control over whether or not our family lives or dies. You feel what I'm saying? I've heard somebody say it's not yours if you can't protect it. You feel me? And so it's like black manhood as a collective is not existent. You feel me? There are individual pockets and glimmers of black manhood that we do see. You feel me? Those of us who are striving for black manhood, like myself and other brothers that I know that are like me. But in terms of it being in full-fledged effect, it don't exist, bro. Because manhood cannot exist under the rulership of another race of man. You feel what I'm saying? It just doesn't. It can't. You feel me? Like, but those of us who are striving towards black manhood, the type of things that we will be doing is protecting our families, willing to put our life on the line for those we love and care about, and for our race. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Black manhood would be controlling black destiny. It would be controlling black resources. You feel me? All of our resources are still in the hands of another people. Everything that we do earn when we do go to work is working for another race, earning from another race. I would rather, like my queen, she don't work. Like I provide for her.
Respect.
I'd rather be the one to go and have to deal with but that's not really a manhood thing. I would rather work for another black man. You feel what I'm saying? Like a good black business that's booming. You feel me? I'd rather work for them. And if my queen ever wants to get a job, I would rather her either own another business or go work for another black person, a good black person. You feel what I'm saying? Because to me, I'm not giving up any bit of my manhood by furthering the aim of a good black person. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You sacrificing some of your little pieces of your manhood every day by working for another race. I'm just being 1,000 with you. You know what I mean? And that's how I view it, even though I'm in that position. You feel me? I'm working toward, it's about getting off of some other person's plantation. You feel what I'm saying? But but black manhood is protecting, providing, and fighting against those who fight against us. And because we don't see a lot of that going on in our collective, I cannot say it exists collectively across this planet. I see us taking a lot of abuse. I see us praising the fact that we can take a lot of abuse. You feel me? That's another thing. I don't believe in measuring black progress or black excellence or black ability by how well we can take ass kickings. You feel me? I feel like we should measure it by how well we deliver. You feel me? And we ain't been delivering none as a collective. But I do think there are individuals, like if somebody come through that door that ain't supposed to be here, they gonna get that business. You feel what I'm saying? So there are those who are willing to express black manhood, but in its total existence, it can't exist so long as white domination exists over us. That's my view on black manhood.
Nah, thank you. Yeah, powerful. I just want to dive in this. We hear a lot of contention between African Americans and, let's just say, others in the diaspora and the continent. I'm including the Caribbean and stuff, right?
Okay.
Like that. Just bar none. How can we cut through the bullshit that comes into us with communicating and interactions?
I gotta say some things. Alright, so ADOS, right? There's some things separate from that particular movement and those two people who created the movement. I'm talking about black people who were born and raised in America. You feel what I'm saying? And then those who are other Africans from the diaspora, from the continent and the islands and whatnot, in Britain or whatever. I have to say that the first thing I would say is this. I do not like when I see Africans from the diaspora get offended when they hear black people say, I want to fight for reparations. And the reason I don't like that is because I feel like if I live in Nigeria or Angola or the Congo, right? And the Congolese people were saying, I am going to fight for reparations against the Belgians for what Leopold the Belgian did to the Congolese. You feel what I'm saying? And I was living there at that time. You know what I would say? Hell yeah, you need some help? You feel what I'm saying? That's what I would say. You feel me? Because I want to see Africans win. I'm not going to say, well, what about me? What about my reparations for what happened to me? It's like, bruh. It's like, I want to see other African people win, and you my brother, and you fighting against these Belgian people for what they did to the Congolese people. I'm not Congolese. You feel what I'm saying? I believe you got a right to fight for that. Now, in terms of the division, I'm going to say another thing, too. I do not see continental Africans and a lot of diasporic Africans involved in the political struggle in America against white racism, white supremacy. You do not see them active, okay? But, I'm going to put a but on that. The reason I believe you don't see it, and this is the thing, so people want to say, oh, Africans hate you. Where they at? Why they not here marching? And it's true, a lot of them ain't. You know, there was a sister that was recently killed, according to the news. Right. Who I believe was African based on her name. I'm not sure.
Nigerian, yeah.
Nigerian. But to a large degree, you don't see that. You feel me? Actually, you do see a lot of African Americans fighting for other people, including diasporic Africans. When Amadou Diallo, he wasn't ADOS, but black people raised the roof for him, burned it down for him. You feel what I'm saying? And we're known for that. When South Africa was going through apartheid, Apartheid, that was us.
Right.
Fighting for South Africa and appealing and doing whatever ways in which black people fight, in order to relieve South Africa. So there's always been a concern and a harkening back to Africa and a love for continental Africans and diasporic Africans coming from African Americans. But we don't always see that in return.
Right.
But I will say this, and this is the but I was alluding to earlier. The reason, and this is so that we don't get caught up in the divisiveness that shouldn't be, because we should be more united with our continental brothers and sisters and our diaspora brothers and sisters. The reason why we don't see that many continental Africans, diaspora Africans fighting for the political struggle against white supremacy is because white people have a very thorough vetting system for who they allow to come over here.
Talk about it.
They are not allowing revolutionaries to come over here. Trust me, they go through a thorough examination and Christianization and all of that before they say, you're going to come. You know how bad an Arab want to come over here and tear some shit up? They're not about to let them motherfuckers. It's the same thing for these Africans who might want to tear some shit up. They're not about to let them over here. They're only letting the ones through who are thoroughly Christianized, thoroughly educated in European institutions, thoroughly cooned out. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
Oh, maybe a few might slip through the cracks. And all this idea of looking back to some Africans from way back who did fight for and recognize our cause, that was way back. You feel me? We need to show and prove our love and dedication towards each other on both sides. But I also feel like the reason we don't see it is because Europeans are doing a fine job at filtering out the good Africans, what we would consider a good African, from coming over here. And that's why. It's not because Africans hate us or whatever. You know what I mean? Some of them might not even be politically aware because of the structure of their society or where they come from. You feel what I'm saying? Or where they are at that time. But the idea that, the reason we can use the ones who are here as this is a textbook example of what everyone over there is, it can't be, because Europeans cannot allow for revolutionaries to come into their country. So the ones who do have a Pan-African mind state are not allowed to enter the United States. They make sure of that. So that's why we don't see them out here marching and tearing up shit with us.
Great answer, and I like that you put it in context, because we can all look at it both ways, from all ways, but then at the end of the day, these people are coming here,
right? And
it's not our country. And of course, why would they let a revolutionary come through here?
Yeah, we don't control the immigration and customs process. Right. Black people aren't in control of it. Revolutionaries aren't in control of it.
Right.
Europeans, like Donald Trump, is in control of who comes in, who comes in, who don't.
Right.
So it just logically, they shouldn't be wanting to fight for us, because that's how they got in.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So I agree 100% with you. Thank you. I guess with that comes from a place of sanity. You know what I mean? And so I want to ask you a question. Sane African. When you hear sane African, what comes through your mind, or what is a sane African to you?
A sane African to me is two things: an African that has clarity, and an African that acts on his clarity. Because there are people who have clarity, who clearly understand who our enemies are, who our friends are, which is ourselves. You feel me? A sane African is a person that loves being African, loves being black, loves black people. You feel what I'm saying? And hates as well. A sane person hates. You feel me? You should love, but you should also hate. You should hate what is bad for African people. You feel what I'm saying? And bad Africans. You feel what I'm saying? People who are abusing our people, misleading our people, and pimping our people. You should have hatred for that. You feel me? I think a sane person is someone who is sticking to the basic fundamentals of what it is to be an African, in terms of believing in black life. You feel me? Bringing black life into this world, having a black partner. You feel what I'm saying? Wanting to take back control of this planet, not wanting to see this planet destroyed in the way that it's being destroyed through pollution and extinction of animals. They're killing the bees. The bees are what bring food to us. You feel what I'm saying? Like if your plants don't get no flowers, you don't get no fruit. You feel me? So it's like all of that. To be sane is to be unadulterated by a European standard of beauty, unadulterated by a European perspective in terms of sex and all of this European shit. You feel what I'm saying? A European standard of religion. You feel me? So or non-African standards of religion, beauty, and all of that. So that's to me what a sane African is.
Word, really, yeah. Respect. I can't argue with that. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you, can you give the people 4 book suggestions that you would recommend for any black person or child? Anything that a black person should pick up and read? Please give us your 4.
I would hold them up, but I just moved, so all my stuff is in boxes still. But the first book I believe every black home and black family should have in their home is The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. That book is instrumental, it's key, it's very important. I believe we should have Awakening the Natural Genius of the Black Child by Dr. Amy Zane Wilson. I believe every black family should have in their home Showdown by Dale Jones. It's a book that highlights our victories against our enemies. A lot of times we hear about our losses and all the wars we've lost, but we never hear about the ones we won. Okay. You feel what I'm saying? So Showdown highlights that. You said 4. There's a lot that I disagree with in the ISIS papers, but there's the way that she gets you to challenge how you've previously seen things is very important to the development of critical thinking. So I would say the ISIS papers by Dr. Cress Wilson, you know what I mean, out of reference to her work that she put forward to fight against white supremacy. That's the work that she put in, was to psychologically analyze the system of white supremacy and what the black response should be. And she clearly stated racial aggression should be met with racial aggression. She said black men should be willing to fight and die to protect their people and their families against racism. You feel me? She said some of the exercises that she does with her patients, she had them lay down on the sofa, on the couch. You know, a lot of times you see the movies where they got the psychologists putting people in the trance and making them think of walking through the woods and dreaming of walking on clouds and all this. She says she has them physically think of physically fighting against white people, throwing blows with them. You feel me? That's some of the mental exercises that she has some of her patients do. So I think that that's a very, very something that you don't hear come from anybody. Right. You feel me? Especially a sister. So for a sister, man, she's very strong. You feel me? And so that book, again, like, I don't agree with everything that she said, every theory, but it was a theory. It was her doing her best to break down what's going on and what our proper response should be to that. You know, she made one of her statements was, we shouldn't have kids before 30. I don't agree with that. I believe 30 is freaking old. You feel me? I can't even. How you gonna play football with your son when he's 10? You 40 years old. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, oh my back. You feel me? So
damn.
Nah, you know, I'm just keeping it a butt. So I'm feeling like, you know, yeah, I don't agree with that. You feel me? I understand why she said it. She said in the context of America, racism, white supremacy, we haven't fully developed ourselves mentally and all that. Then we need to be working towards that, as opposed to saying, well, let's just wait till we're 30 because white supremacy. You know. So not everything I agree with, but there's a lot in there, a lot of jewels that she dropped up in there, a lot of valuable information. I don't believe Jesus was black or none of that. She believed it, but you know, yeah, I don't believe Jesus was a black man at all. You feel me? For many reasons, just because he had skin of bronze, but they also said he had eyes of fire. So what does that mean? His eyes were red. You feel me? That's funny because Hebrew Israelites point to that verse, and then Africans are known for having red eyes. You feel me? In terms of not the eye, but the, red around the eyes. But they so don't want to be African. So it's like, what? You feel me? And so, but yeah, man, it's like, yeah, he wasn't a black man, man. Just because he had some skin tone. Osama bin Laden had skin tone. That don't make him a black man. So, but anyways, yeah.
No, you're right. That's why I don't play the melanin game. Everybody got melanin.
Everybody got melanin.
So I mean, everybody black.
All of our melanin experts. According to Laila Africa, he said it, melanin forms your heart, it forms your brain. I know Europeans have hearts and brains, therefore they have melanin, so what's the point? Right. And then you have people who differentiate between you melanin, feel melanin, and all that. I'm not getting into none of that.
Right.
You feel what I'm
saying? We know who African.
I'm black, I'm African. You gotta have nappy hair, you feel me? You gotta have dark skin, you feel what I'm saying? You gotta have you gotta show it, you feel me? It shows, you feel me? So I'm not gonna get into none of that melanin crap either. Like I'm not into none of that.
Facts. We have brown and black skin or African textured hair, and I stand on that. Right. You dig? Yep. Look at you on the screen right now, brother. You have African textured hair. Right, you have brown and black skin. Right, you dig? Yep. And sometimes we try to get caught up in the game. You know, when we go to Africa, I'm a melanated brother, but in the context of black, I ain't that dark.
Right.
I ain't that dark.
Oh, you talking about those people that try to say no one's really black or something?
Right.
Like that?
Or just, well, brother, you just like I'm dark skinned. We're trying to play the melanin game, and it's like, well, this African's much darker than me.
Absolutely.
So I ain't that, and we gotta be like, some of us are light skinned if we talking in an African context.
Right, of course. Nelson Mandela, man,
Right.
and he ain't had no white foreparent. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. So we just gotta qualify it. We have specific traits, specific features,
Right.
And we know who we are.
Right. We know we are.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Okay. This is powerful, wonderful, brother, and I appreciate you sitting down with me today, and just giving me your thoughts and your mind. I think that is very pertinent to get this stuff out, and to let black people know that black men are out here, and we moving properly, we moving vital to the title as an African, and we ain't gotta be, as you said earlier. Many of us are leaders in our own right, and we out here leading. We don't need a camera on us 24/7.
Nope.
We don't need, because if we really want to be serious, if we doing what we supposed to be doing, why the hell we want attention?
Not at all. Yep, absolutely. You feel me? I don't be showing my guns, none of that shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
I don't need them trying to look for serial numbers or nothing. You feel me? Like, sure. Yep.
Well, let me ask this before we close out. I got to, because you brought it up. Because I'm a big fan, as I was talking to the brother earlier, of black folks need to stop putting guns online. If you ain't gonna bust that thing, shut up.
I think that's one of the clear indicators that you're not going to use it. It's because it's being shown. Because if you know anything about, like, if you really been in that life, you already know everything gets investigated, bro. So the last thing you want to do is show. The first thing they want to know, what type of firearm was it? Okay, well, who has that same type of firearm? Now you show, oh, I got this.
Got all this.
I got this sawed-off shotgun. Ooh, oh, he was killed with a shotgun. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they gonna put two and two together like that. You feel what I'm saying? So, no, you don't need to show it. Just use it. You feel me? But the reason that you're showing is because you probably don't have an intention to use it. You feel me? If you know you about to use that thing, you don't want nobody seeing that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're not trying to be placed with it. You feel me? Like, so
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's an indicator that people probably really aren't gonna use it. You feel me? Even these dudes that be out there marching and all of that stuff, it's like, bruh, what is that for? Like, you know, at the end of the day, this whoever you mad about, he out there.
Yeah.
You could get him. You feel me? So
yeah, I look at it like it's just props, because you know, I come from a street background. We know that last thing you want to be on camera with is a weapon. Last thing, especially if we using it for what we say we using it for.
Exactly.
Why would you want to let anybody know you got this thing?
Yeah.
So I agree with you, and I had to ask.
But I do believe black people should be armed. I mean,
definitely.
That's something. That's the one thing about this country that they got right. Man, they got something right. God damn it. You feel me? So that's the one thing right there. But yeah, absolutely, man. You know, everybody should be strapped up.
I agree. So, and if you're gonna get on camera, use that shit. I'll say that. Use that shit. Because I believe that it's the babies are watching, the youth are watching, and I'm all about gun control, as in teaching people how to properly use these weapons. But we don't want to be hyping black people up like we superheroes when you know you ain't gonna go out and do nothing. Like, let's not even put that message out. So I'm with you on that. Any closing words, brother? Any last things that you want to add to the camera? Any message you want to put out, or your contact, or people can find you if they may want to contact you for something?
I am on Instagram. It's Kalydessalinis. So it's KALYDDESSALINES. So I'm on Instagram. I got a YouTube channel. My old channel got taken down, so I ain't got that much content on my YouTube channel. I probably ain't really messing with YouTube like that. I'm on Facebook, but I ain't really be on Facebook like that. So really, if somebody want to reach me, it's gonna be through Instagram, man. Just inbox me, whatever, you know. But yeah, man, I just want to see black people win. I want to see black people keep up the fight. You feel what I'm saying? Like, don't just take this. You feel what I'm saying? We ain't supposed to go out like this. You feel what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it.
100. So again, thank you, my brother Khalid. It's a pleasure that we can actually sit down and get this popping on Saint African TV. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. The brother said everything we need to say. This is another Saint African TV production. You know what we doing. You know what we about. Africans only. That's all we representing. But we gonna leave it at that. Peace.
Peace.